Hello, welcome to the shit show that is Smut Swap. This is Kelly. This is Brittany. This is our box of tricks. And that was my not burp because I have the condition where you can't burp. Isn't that wonderful?
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
I literally only burped like twice in my life. I burped when we were walking Peach like a month ago in that neighborhood. And I was like, oh my God, I just burped. And she was like, you can't burp? And I was like, no. And I was like, it tasted disgusting. And she was like, I don't know, that was a burp.
Oh. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I can't make myself, but I can.
I cannot burp.
I can allow it to release.
But I'll tell you what I do be doing.
Be up in here
farting. I be farting. Okay, so hi. What are you reading? Anything?
I am reading yes.
She's not ready. I'll tell you what I'm reading. I finished No Matter What by Cara Bastone last night. I almost DNF'd that book. And
What's it called? I'm sorry.
It's called No Matter What by Cara Bastone. I almost DNF'd it because I was very bored and also very irate because it was a very classic case of miscommunication between a married couple. And I was like, oh my God.
I hate that.
Hate that. But then I switched over to the audiobook and exclusively listened to the audiobook, and it was actually a very amazing story that had me like welling up a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it you just needed somebody to narrate it from their point of view or something?
I think I needed a voice actor because I just was like only 3 chapters in, and I was so pissed off at all the characters because nobody was like effectively communicating. This woman was like,
which is really annoying.
He left a lease on the counter underneath a can of tomatoes, and these are now divorced tomatoes. And I was like, that's really funny. That's really funny that's how you chalked it up in your head, but like, what's going on with him?
Yeah.
And he's like, and it's not really a point of view for him, but you get like a little snippet of like what he's going through, and he's like, what appears to be group therapy, exclusively talking about how much he loves and is in love with his wife, like actively in love with his wife, but something really terrible has happened to them.
Yeah.
And so in her crazy brain, she's like, he hates me, we're getting a divorce. And in his brain, he's like, she hates me, and I don't know how to fix this, but I want to. It was just...
And you're like, come on.
Just fucking talk.
See,
just
and I think that's where you and I are very similar. Yeah. We have the same... issue with that because that's why I don't like Frida McFadden because there's no communication, and that's why there's conflict in her books.
I've read a lot of this woman's books. They're all like very touching and like heartwarming, and so I knew that it would be like handled well. The issue is that they were in a very horrific accident where they almost both died, and so there's like a lot of PTSD from the accident involved.
And not wanting to open up and open those wounds or something.
So the man doesn't want to open up those wounds for her. But she's so convinced that he wants a divorce that every time she brings up this lease that he signed, he tries to tell her that he didn't sign the lease and that he just brought the paperwork home. But she doesn't let him get a word in. Like, she just talks over him. And I'm like, bitch, shut up and listen to Van. Listen to Van. So I finished that last night, and I'm starting a book called Blood Moon by Brittany S. Lewis, which is apparently like if Bonnie from the Vampire Diaries actually had a happy ending.
Ooh.
So I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah. It's been on my TBR for forever, and the hold finally came through. Okay. So this is the cover.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah.
Is it pomegranate?
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is werewolves. Ooh. I also keep getting these like ice pick, like stabbing pains in my head on this side, which is a result of my likely infected tooth. Anyway, what are you reading?
Jeez.
My life's in shambles.
I am reading Two Can Play by Allie Hazelwood. It's a short one, but it's fun so far. But there's also like miscommunication, and it's like these two people just can't get along, and I'm like, just ask him why he's mad at you.
It's literally
like,
so easy.
Why are you treating me like an asshole?
It's literally so easy. Is that going to be your episode?
Yes.
I'm just going to cover an Allie Hazelwood. I have a love-hate relationship with Allie Hazelwood.
Yeah.
I love her paranormal romance, like Bride and Mates, which are over here on the shelf.
Okay.
And I hate her like contemporaries.
Yeah.
I read Not in Love, and I fucking hated that book. I read Problematic Summer Romance, loved it. I read Deep End, which is the diving book.
I've seen that.
Loved it.
Okay.
But like
I've seen the covers. What I meant.
Seen that.
Seen it.
Seen that. But because I hated Not in Love so much, I'm very reluctant to try others. I just.
This one kind of gives me. I probably because it's only can't speak. This one gives me tomorrow vibes because it's about video games. And it's like too... I don't know why I'm talking about it right now. I'm going to do an episode. Yeah. Never mind. Forget it.
You heard it here first. Forget it.
But there are some video games in there. But
Kelly loves tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, and I hate tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow.
I do. I think because I'm kind of a dork and I like sci-fi.
I just wanted it to end.
And I was like, give me more.
Are you sick of us? Is that all that you're reading?
That reminds me. Sorry, that just reminded me of Sarah J. Maas and All of Her Books is one of my biggest pet peeves of hers. Mm-hmm. She'll always say something and she'll say it 3 times. Like, it went down.
Do we have to say it thrice?
I'm like, why do we always have to say it
it's for 3 times? It's for emphasis. It's a literary device.
Every fucking book.
Yeah, but it's like a literary device. Don't, because people will come for you. Do you remember when I made that little stupid TikTok about how Allie Hazelwood always uses the word pornographic to describe things that aren't pornographic? There were people being mean to me.
I remember that. And you were really mad.
You were being so mean to me.
This is my opinion.
I'm like, it's literally just my fucking opinion. Lemons can't be pornographic.
I'll let you know if she says it.
Let me know. I literally, to the point where I like search for the word in her books. Stop it. It's not a hyperbole. It's not.
But not when we like.
Not when I'm reading it. God damn.
That's all I'm reading right now.
It? Okay. Anyway, so we're going to cover the final installment of the Dance with My Demons series called Exile by Steph Macca today.
She's so excited.
I am so excited. There was a scene that I was like, what?
Yeah, she gets hot.
It literally was what, and I can't stop thinking about it.
I'm
a dirty, filthy pervert. Yes, there were
dirty little pervert.
There were 3 men involved because she does have 3 boyfriends and a husband. Well, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah,
she has 2 boyfriends and a husband.
She was betrothed against her will.
She was illegally against her will wed.
Forced to wed a man.
So in the prologue, we have Damon's point of view where he's talking about his revenge and need to save everyone and how Avery shows him that love exists or whatever. It was like bullshit. And I was like, okay, whatever. He got shot.
Bullshit.
So remember, he got shot at the end of the last book by his father. So that's where we're at. And then the first chapter is in Gray's point of view. And once again, this is the hill that I'm going to die on. This is my horse that's dead that I'm beating. I refuse to accept that Theo only has like 3 chapters in this book. He's not like...
He has main character energy. Why are you doing him like that?
Why are you doing him like that? So Gray has been locked in his room. He's reliving...
The horse is dead.
He's reliving what went down with Alexander and Damon. The horse is dead. And he's reflecting on Damon's marriage to Avery. He recognizes that this is something that they needed to... Like, this was something that they needed in order to tip the scales in their favor. But he still selfishly is like, I wanted to be the one to marry her. That's my girl. As he's contemplating, he's doing everything that he can to break down his door by punching it with his fists. There's a power surge that goes off that seems to help him in his endeavor. And as the power comes back on, the door starts to creak open. And he's like, fuck this. And he wrenches it open and damn near barrels into Christopher, who's on the other side of the door, saying, we don't have very much time. You need to hurry up. And then that chapter ends and we cut over to Avery. So Avery has been whisked away to the hospital where she's contemplating playing into the whole marriage thing so that she can get to... Damon's side or maybe get info on Damon's condition, because at this point we have no idea what's going on with him. He's been shot and whisked away to the hospital and he was bleeding out.
Blood. Yeah.
She is miraculously uninjured but waits in a holding room adjacent to the ER waiting room, and they have her very tightly cuffed at this table. So she's sitting with these 2 cops asking them to loosen the cuffs, and there's this guy who keeps refusing to help her, and she calls him Captain Asshole. Oh. So she's like, Captain Asshole over here is refusing to help me out. He won't loosen them. He's kind of talking down to her. It's all very annoying and rude. That's when this nurse comes in and she takes her off to this examination room where she's flicking through a file before she looks up at Avery and says, you might not remember me, but I definitely remember you. And she's like, Avery. Mm-hmm. So Christopher and Gray are together. Chris is catching Gray up on everything with Avery, being at the hospital and all that jazz. He also informs Gray that one of their very own was killed in that throwdown. It was... Leighton one of the guys that helped Damon rescue Avery from that torture chamber, the one that was with Damon,
Okay.
is the one who was killed in the whole showdown.
Oh.
It was very awful. Like, one of the guards basically yelled on his neck until he died.
Dang.
Yeah. And I was like, ooh, hate
We don't
that.
like that.
I hate that. So, yeah, asphyxiated to death.
That's awful.
Gray's really pissed. They make their way to Arthur's office, where he confronts both Arthur and Alexander, despite the fact that there are a million cops in here, as he's screaming at them threats of violence.
Do you ever watch Orange is the New Black?
Yes.
When that one girl died?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, she was
Awful.
like my
I cried.
favorite.
I literally bawled my eyes out watching that episode.
Yeah, that was awful.
She was my favorite.
Her and the other girl.
Yeah.
Ugh, their friendship.
God, it was
Sorry.
That show was great.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's screaming, violence at them. Ultimately, Alexander tells Gray that he has use for Avery still, but not so much Damon, which is Gray's tipping point. And he ends up being tased for the second time in this book, because our boy was tased in the first chapter as well. And I just neglected to mention it because I was like, there's a lot going on, too many details.
I was like, I don't remember that.
But being tased twice certainly warrants being brought up. So the lady who told Avery that she remembers her name's Alyssa. She remembers Avery because she was assisting on the surgery when Avery was brought in to remove the shards of glass from her back that has left her a scarred mess.
Mm-hmm. That was like when she first got to the place.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. She was also there when our girl showed up and had a broken nose. So she remembers all these acts of violence against Avery. She tells her that she feels guilty that she couldn't do more for her. But Avery's matured and decides to grant this woman some grace. She recognizes that the system's not exactly set up to believe victims, and the woman did as much as she could, but the system is broken.
Yeah.
So they weren't going to be able to get her out of there because there wasn't enough proof. Then they end up talking about Damon. Fortunately, the bullet didn't hit any major organs, but he is in surgery for severe blood loss. Once he's been moved into recovery, Avery will be able to see him. But in the meantime, she is able to shower and then eat the entirety of the cafeteria thanks to Alyssa. Because remember, the food at Lilydale is crusty, dusty, and moldy.
Just like
and
my
disgusting.
house.
And so she only gets to eat the good food when they have the society meetings, which isn't very often.
Okay.
As she's passing around her ward, she bumps into none other than her new father-in-law, who made some excuse about needing to check up on the patients as the chairman of Lilydale. Avery's like, I don't buy it. And Alyssa's like, I don't buy it either. And I'll get the fuck out. And then she takes Avery to see Damon. Damon is sure he's died and gone to hell. That is, until he sees Avery's head laid down on his bed. He makes a comment about her being a sight for sore eyes, which she ignores, and then she picks up this little medication pump, and she pumps it with it's morphine. So he
pass out
so that he isn't in pain. She's like, I know he's not going to take this because he wants to be vigilant and aware, but I'm making him take this because he's going to be in pain. They have a little mini declaration of love before they're interrupted by Alyssa very briefly. Once she's gone, Avery climbs up into bed beside Damon and lays down, and they plan her return to Lilydale and what she and Gray are going to need to do in Damon's absence, because he has to recover at the hospital for a little while. Mm-hmm. Is that crooked? I'll fix it in post. It's fine.
I did see that when we were chatting, and I was like,
whatever, I'll fix it. Avery's taken back to Lilydale, which is currently operating under limited power, according to Christopher, a.k.a. Dr. Smith. He informs her that Gray is in solitary and Theo is in his room like the rest of the patients. She tells Christopher that she's going to need both of her boys ASAP. She needs cell phones, and she needs Christopher's help to get them. He's surprised by this whole new demeanor that Avery has and contrite over the whole secret marriage thing, even though Avery's like, bro, I'm not mad. It's okay. Because he's the one who married them.
She's like, marriage is just a piece of paper. It's fine.
No, literally it is, because they don't have rings. And that's obviously the only other reason that's obviously the only other reason that you get married, other than the piece of paper, is for your ring.
Rings.
It's not anything about commitment or love for each other. She's taken to her room.
It means nothing.
It means nothing. And Eric, we know you're not watching. She's taken to her room, and she can tell someone was in there, but she's like, okay, something's just amiss. I know that somebody was in here, but I'm still going to try to rest anyway. As she's resting, her door creaks open, and in strides Gray. And she's like, okay, now it's my time to assure him that Damon's okay. He's like, okay, cool, great. And then they're kissing. And then we're in chapter 7, and I said, Gray, parentheses, when is Theo getting a chapter?
Tired of this.
Because how are we 7 chapters in and he hasn't even gotten a chapter yet? Piss me off.
How many did he get?
We'll count.
Okay.
We'll count.
Okay.
All right, you keep track on your fingers. I'll keep track on my fingers. Gray and Avery make their way to Theo, where Avery basically tackles him onto his bed whilst the guards watch on. Gray threatens them and directs one guard to get his buddies in order and to remember who runs the show. All the while, Avery and Theo are smooching away on his bed. She ends up sitting between the two of them before Gray pulls her onto his lap. He then starts to finger blast her as Theo removes her top, doors wide open the whole time.
We got some voyeurs walking by.
Soon enough, we've got Gray knuckle deep while Theo chokes the shit out of her until she finishes. So then Gray pulls his finger out and he sucks on it. And then Theo makes Avery suck on another finger. And then he passionately kisses her so that everybody gets a taste.
All right.
Now it's time to fuck shit up.
Oh, God.
Of note, they do talk a little bit about the secret marriage thing, but like I'm tired of rehashing it because I felt like we rehashed it in every chapter, and I was like, I'm not going to keep typing this in my notes.
She's like, and for what?
And for what?
Move on.
Move on. So here we have Theo's first chapter.
Okay.
1. Theo counter 1.
I was about to say that, maybe Theo counter up here.
Theo counter up here. The gang are preparing for a meeting of the circus, or whatever, as Theo calls it. Avery's putting together the menu, and Gray makes some announcement that's basically like, if you see something, say something to us. All the while
say something.
Just like the airport. All the while, that new patient, Ryan, is staring at Avery, which makes Theo want to break his neck into a million pieces because nobody stares at his woman. At the meeting, Gray breaks the news that Leighton died, and Theo reflects on how much his sister would love Gray because they were so similar and likely would have been the type to feed off of each other's energy, just like me and Kelly. We also learn that 4 other patients are missing and that each of them signed up for the early release program that Lilydale was offering if they volunteered for the torture treatment plan. And this is now chapter 9 and the start of me listening to the audiobook and reading at the same time. It is told in a full cast narration, so when the boys talk, the different voice actors voice their parts. So even if it's Avery's chapter, the guys will chime in for their parts, which was really great.
I love that.
And helped me distinguish between the 3 guys. But I will say, I don't recall who did the voice of Damon, but the voice actor did not match the voice in my head.
Oh, see, I don't like that. I hate when that happens.
I just pictured Damon to be a lot more aggressive, and this guy was just very like soft spoken.
I get it.
I needed like Teddy Hamilton as like a gangster, like when he did that one book. Yeah, no, the other one.
Lights Out.
Yeah, he was Lights Out. No, Caught Up. You have your phone. Look and see. I'm pretty sure he was Junior.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Oh yeah, Caught Up. Okay.
I said Game On, but I meant Caught Up.
I needed somebody like Teddy and Caught Up to be Damon. Okay, but I digress.
And that's another one. Game On, I didn't like the female voice actress.
Yeah.
I didn't think she fit.
Stella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The vibe that I was getting for Stella.
Yeah.
Loved the guy though.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Theo. I don't know who played Theo.
What's his
Theo.
name?
Tyler.
Yeah, I think he went by Theo.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Theo, Tyler, Mr. Strickland. You all get it. Anyway.
Moving on.
Avery and Gray are in the library, somehow reading news articles about the birthday bash bloodbath, as I'm calling it. I don't know how. Don't ask me. It doesn't matter.
They have cell phones now. Remember?
No, they don't. Maybe.
Chapter 3.
I don't know. She asked for cell phones. He didn't just hand them over right away. I don't know.
They got off the roots. Okay?
Anyway, Arthur makes a shitload of lies about what went down, but it's notable that the report the reporters are aware of the fact that Damon was shot. Christopher was able to obtain access to the cell phones that Avery requested, so Gray tells her to check her phone right as a text from Damon rolls in. It simply reads, "Hello, wife," which cues Avery's annoyance at being left out of the loop yet again. The annoyance very quickly takes a turn because Gray lifts her shirt up and sends Damon a photo of him basically honking her boobs. Damon tells him to at least use his mouth, and things spiral out of control from there.
Is Avery like, hee hee?
Avery's like, I love this.
Hee hee.
We've got Theo, who's holding up our girl as Gray is using his mouth on her. And once she's finished, he's inside of her. As she nears her second O of the night, she feels Theo's fingers moving alongside Gray's stick. And then we're graced with some lovely, lovely DVP. If you don't know what that is, it's flashing on the screen right now. All while these two dudes are snapping photos. They're like passing the phone back and forth, taking photos to send to Damon.
All right.
Everyone finishes, and Avery passes out to the sound of a phone camera shutter. And I was like, did they take a picture of the mess?
Gosh.
You freaks!
Freaky boys.
Not to yuck anyone's yum, but my God.
Calm down.
All right, so in the
Damon's
next...
like, the fuck?
Damon's like, I can't even jerk it.
Isn't Damon Superman?
Yeah, Damon's like, I can't even...
I'm suffering blood loss still.
I'm laid up in my hospital bed.
But my hands are made for jerking it. Sorry, I'm tuning in to the YouTube. Well,
My hands were made for jerking it.
Look at him.
Zoom in on the hand.
Why is he country?
He wasn't even country enough. Why are we like this?
Oh, ridiculous.
So in the next chapter, there's not a whole lot going on. Ryan's like staring at Avery during class, which is wild because later on he's not even in Avery and Gray's class. But whatever.
That's
Plot
fine.
hole.
That's fine.
And what? We have Ryan staring at Avery during class. Something between Avery, Theo, and Gray. Don't ask me what. It says a letting. Whatever that is.
A bloodletting?
As she's heading to her room for sleep, she's pulled by a guard to Arthur's office where he tells her that Damon's going to be returning tomorrow and Alexander's prepared to offer her a deal. Her freedom in exchange for an annulment.
Okay. More on the fake wedding.
So at this point, I wrote, I have no idea if I've mentioned that 4 patients are missing. Well, the 4 patients that are missing appear to have been taken underground, which has been reinforced since Avery's return topside. And even the 2 psychos that are Gray and Theo cannot figure out how to break the reinforcements and aid in a rescue.
Why do we care about these 4 random people now?
Because Damon's whole shtick is that he wants to protect everybody.
Oh.
So, like, he acts like this big, tough baddie who doesn't care about anybody, but he actually secretly cares about everybody. The whole secret society was set up to protect all of the patients of Lilydale from having to go through this torture because he knew that this was likely to happen because his dad runs the show.
Got it.
Yeah, so he's like, I got it.
What do you call that in the real world?
I call that a Superman complex.
But also, what is it called? What's that term? If you're not being treated right at work, you talk to the union. He's starting his own union.
I was like, I don't know. I don't have a union.
I don't know.
I work for the
We work for Subway.
I work for Subway. The federal Subway.
The Subway on the federal building grounds.
There is no union for my pay grade.
Our unions were canceled anyway, so it's fine.
Well, we make too much. Oh, sorry. Spoiler alert. We are too high of a pay grade to have a union, so.
Oh no, Trump just.
Well, I know, because I remember when all of my friends got their letters saying that they were no longer union employees.
But I didn't get one.
But you didn't get one because you weren't ever represented by the union.
I make boss ass money.
Both of us do,
And
but
it all goes to taxes.
it all goes to taxes. Isn't it wonderful?
I'm sorry.
We digress yet again. So anyway, there's a meeting. And there's a meeting with Christopher and Gray where they talk about Damon's return, and then Gray and Theo are attempting to break and enter to the realm of terror unsuccessfully. They are bickering in typical Gray and Theo fashion before giving up on their task to go and tell Avery the wonderful news of Damon's return.
He's home.
He's home, baby girl. Avery plays into Arthur's suggestion that she sign the papers and then he'll let her leave. So she takes this pen and she clicks the ballpoint out and she pretends like she's going to go sign it. And then she jams the pen into his hand.
Oh.
He starts screaming at the guard, who escorts her away to take her to solitary. The three doctors, Markle, the physical doctor, Elsher, the psychiatrist, and Christopher, the other psychiatrist, bear witness to Avery's insane grin as she's dragged away. Time in solitary passes slower than the slowest week of work. She has no service, so her cell phone, or on her cell phone, so she passes the time by scrolling through all of her sex photos and thinking.
And playing Snake.
Playing Snake on her little flip phone. Theo, chapter number 2. Theo counter. Theo is on a warpath when it comes to getting Avery out of solitary. He breaks the society guard's jaw, remember him, Connor, for not doing anything to stop her from being taken to solitary. Then he and Gray make their way down to Christopher, and they're like, you know what you're going to do? Figure out a way to take us down there to Avery, and we're not leaving her side. He does. They end up staying the whole night with her, outside of the door, of course.
Oh, I was like, did I just get in somehow?
Nope, they formulate a plan. Avery wakes the next morning, or at least she assumes it's morning, given that there's no light, and sees a shadow in the corner of solitary. She's like, well, that's it. I've gone insane.
And I'm officially crazy.
After 12 hours of solitary confinement, I'm insane. But then the shadow speaks, and he says, hello, wife. And she realizes, hello, brother.
Hello, brother.
And she realizes that Damon has made his return, or she's crazy. She feels her way across to him, and she's like, oh my god, you're real. And then they're kissing. And as they're kissing, she feels his fingers moving lower on her body. She's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm consummating our marriage, before he proceeds to throw everything he can at her. Fingers, tongue, and stick, despite his injuries.
And despite her sitting in this nasty little
dank-ass room, she's over here like,
got swamp crouch and everything.
Here it is.
She's like, come at me, bro.
Anything to consummate the marriage.
Sorry.
Shortly after they finish, Gray and Theo enter the scene and take everyone upstairs, where they've effectively destroy the door to solitary confinement, so it won't be useful anymore. They've used a crowbar and a blowtorch that Christopher has gifted them.
Don't know where he got them.
Well, Christopher's allowed on the outside. He's a doctor.
He snuck him in.
He snuck him in through his booty hole, I guess. In the library. Where it wasn't clear by my story about why I can't have a partial and I have to have a permanent.
Not because it's inconvenient.
Yeah, it's because I'm immature. So anyway, all roads lead back to the library. Gray presents Avery with this shiv that he made from the razor blade that she smuggled betwixt her butt cheeks. You remember that?
It's like she smuggled up her butt crack.
Yeah, remember that razor blade that she put between her butt cheeks? Well, he made her a shiv.
Sorry, Pat.
It was like a book or two ago. Y'all remember. She's overcome with emotion about her razor blade shiv. So he gives her, I can't remember the last time somebody gave me a present. Meanwhile, it's just a shiv.
I don't get it.
Maybe it's because you haven't been imprisoned against your will.
You know what? If I had been in prison, I would understand.
In a psych ward for burning down your family home with your father inside. All right. So
we'll see.
So then he's like, oh, you like that gift? Here's another one.
Blots out something else.
Gift of a moderately good wiener egg or two. I literally typed, is there another gift of a moderately good wiener egg or two?
And that will be a future bookmark.
Sometimes.
This book contains some moderately good wienering.
Sometimes I just type things because I know that Kelly and I are going to be insane. And that it's going to just tip us over the edge. There are tears in my eyes again. All right, after the moderately good wienering, they go to meet the others. The gang's all in the cafeteria when Avery spots Vivian. She tells her men she needs to speak with her, and then she goes to step away, and Damon grabs her and spins her into a dip, like the Navy photo?
Yeah.
That kiss photo, and then he's kissing her. Everyone's staring at them in shock, and are further shocked when Gray, rips her out of Damon's arms and takes his turn. Avery calls Gray a Neanderthal, which made me laugh, because I was like, yeah, he really is. Finally, Avery turns to Theo, who very gently cups her face in his hands and kisses her softly, at which point it is dead silent in the cafeteria, because remember, everybody's terrified of Theo. So to see him handle her so gently, they're like, who the fuck is that?
You're like, what is happening?
She forgot that she meant to go and speak to Vivian, and she's like, all right, so let me go talk to her.
She's like, unhand me, boys.
Unhand me. Shakes them off. When she finally does go to speak to Vivian, they talk about the missing women. Avery tells her they'll find them and reassures her that the main doctor who was doing all those crazy experiments is dead because, remember, Theo killed him. The guys then escort Avery to her room, where they finally rectify the whole keeping her out of the loop in the marriage debacle, and provide a grand gesture speech in which she is presented with a ring, and all three gents show her that they're wearing a ring that matches hers.
Oh my gosh.
Something like the band is black to represent Gray's cold black heart, and there's a ruby for Damon, and there's a diamond for Theo being like tough as a diamond or whatever. It's symbolic for all of them.
I'm sure it's very cutesy.
And demure. I'll tell you how they came upon the rings in a second. We learn that Damon set up a secret account before losing access to his trust fund, hence why he was able to go and purchase the rings. He made whoever was driving him back to Lilydale make a pit stop on the way back. It was convenient that it was the guard that he had in his pocket, and everyone else was too terrified. It's because everyone else is too terrified of Damon to volunteer to go and pick him up. So Connor was like, well, I guess it's me. I'm going to have to go and get him.
Last resort.
He meets with Christopher, and we learn 2 more patients are now missing, and they were assigned to Dr. Elsher as their psychiatrist. We learn Avery asked for her social worker, and Damon wants to know why. Christopher's like, I don't fucking know. Why don't you go ask your wife why she wants her social worker to be here? Gray and Damon are together in Damon's room after the meeting with Christopher. They're discussing the meeting that's going to happen tonight and how Damon's favorite foods will be there. He's thinking about how Avery's really stepped into her new leadership role, and Gray reminds him that he was the first one to know that she would be useful, because heaven forbid Gray let anybody forget that he loved her first.
No one will forget.
No one will forget Gray, don't worry. Later, they go to check on the library and then head off to get Avery from her room. They're like idly chatting as they approach her door, and they hear something slam, and they're like, okay, whatever. And then they hear a scream, and they're like, that's Avery.
Oh no.
She screams, sprints into her ensuite bathroom, and projectile vomits. The guys are very quickly there and relieved that she's okay. Gray's holding her hair back as she continues to vomit, and Damon finds the cause of the turmoil that is going on. So I don't remember if we talked about it, but in the last book, Arthur's assistant was found dead. Do you remember that?
I think so.
Well, the box that was in Avery's room that she looked into is Arthur's ex-assistant's head.
Oh.
And that's what's causing her to puke.
Ew.
And there's also a note in there that reads, "You're next." As an entourage, they walk together to go confront Arthur, where they present him with Teddy's severed head and proceed to threaten him. He seems surprised by the rings, and even more surprised when Theo and Gray box him in and begin to manhandle him.
He's like, what's going on here?
They part ways, and Avery tells him that they will kill him and Alexander, sending them back to hell where they belong.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not yawning at you.
She's so bored. Avery is with Theo in the library, getting, you guessed it, yet another tattoo. Get your minds out the gutter. Get your minds out the gutter, sickos. This time it's on her ribs, and it's an image of the ECG. That's what it's called? Yeah, of Damon's heartbeat after he got shot.
We'll go with that.
Gray isn't here to distract her this time, so she's having some issues staying still, but ends up, man, how she stayed still the last time is crazy, but she ends up managing to get through it just fine. After she finishes, she tells Theo it's his turn, so he goes to prep a new needle, and she's like, oh, I wasn't going to tattoo you. And then they end up going to town on each other on the library table. There's some hair pulling and light choking, and he stays inside her once they're finished so he can smooch her a little.
How romantic.
As he softens inside of her, they're just smooching.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. I think that there was something to that effect, but you're welcome.
After some moderate wienering.
No, Theo's never moderate. It's not moderately good. It's just immaculate.
Oh.
Always.
Georgina.
Greg gets on my... Greg gets on my nerves. Theo is my favorite.
Theo can do no wrong.
This is the thing, though. If I were single, this is why I could never have multiple men at once, because I would always have a clear favorite. There would be a favorite.
She'd have a favorite and then somebody to beat on.
Exactly. Exactly. Like
because Brittany would have group sex.
Yeah,
all the time.
Obviously. Y'all know me.
You know her.
You know.
She's a wild one.
I'm like Paka in the Four Psychos series. I just have a favorite depending on what day it is.
Yes.
On who's most recently pleased me.
And that would be very on brand for her.
Yeah. So after they're done, they go to find the others. Once they've redressed, of course, they're not wandering the halls naked. Theo's like, are you going to show Damon now the tattoo? And she's like, no, I'm going to tell him later. And Damon's annoyed that she has info that he doesn't, but he doesn't let that deter him from kissing her. Because Theo asks her if she's going to show Damon in front of Damon. And she's like, no, not yet. I'm going to wait for the perfect time. And Damon's like, what the fuck? If you know something, just tell me.
He's like, I'm literally right here.
I'm literally your husband.
Why are you talking like I'm not here?
I'm literally your husband. I'm right here. In case you forgot, wife. So she's getting worked up, kissing him, thinking about putting on a show for the other two when Damon tells her that he will drag her secret out of her later. Gray points out Damon may have met his match with Avery and adds it seems he's certainly rubbing off on her. Avery ends up with Dr. Elsher for her next psych appointment because Christopher's out sick today. He, of course, can't help but mention the experiments and then brings up Theo. Avery is like, absolutely not. You will not talk about my man like that. While Elsher was talking, she was kind of assessing the situation and deciding what could be used as a weapon if need be. And she decides on scissors, which for obvious reasons aren't housed anywhere in Lilydale, but they are on Elsher's desk. So when Elsher brings up Theo, she takes action and grabs a hold of the pair of scissors and starts threatening him with them. She sees genuine fear in his eyes as she makes her threat, even poking him between the eyes with the pointy end before she leaves the room, at which point there are no guards standing outside. So she's like, I'm going to go hide so that they can't find me, and I'm going to go somewhere where they aren't going to look. The kitchens. In here, she snags a bowl of fresh pasta and hides in the walk-in to enjoy her meal, where she waits for Gray to come and find her. She also takes a soda while she's in there.
Oh. Girl's got to eat.
Exactly. Something besides dick. In Gray's next chapter, we flash back 3 years ago to the night that Gray killed his father. In a schizophrenic-induced rage fueled by Gray's mother leaving him for the dentist, Gray's father attacks Gray with a knife. Gray, normally much more controlled and able to calm his father in an episode, ends up snapping, and the next thing he remembers is waking up chained to a hospital bed.
Oh, gosh.
And then we're in present day, where Gray and Damon are together in Damon's room, playing around with the blowtorch, when they're interrupted by Connor, bringing news that Avery's missing. Both men immediately are on alert. Damon sends Gray off to find her. Gray admits that hearing the news that Avery threatened Elsher has him worked up. So when he finds her in the walk-in, his first words to her are, you ever fucked in a freezer, little killer?
Little killer.
Because you're about to now.
Bend over.
We aren't graced with moderately good freezer wienering. Oh. Sorry, sinners. But we are graced with Alexander's presence as he kidnaps Avery from Lilydale to take her to the city where he intends to force her to sign divorce paperwork.
Oh my gosh, why?
He threatens her with a gun to get her to promise no funny business.
No funny business, yeah.
Theo, counter 3. Theo follows that new guy, Ryan, all over the Institute, noting he can come and go as he pleases, wherever he would like. Theo's very perceptive and notes that Ryan never seemed like a mental patient. Obviously, he was searching for info on Avery while following Ryan and turns up nothing, so he makes his way back to Damon and Gray. He tells them everything that he saw, and they tell him that Avery is likely gone from the Institute based on info that Connor spilled to them. Theo's ready to break out and find her, but Damon talks him down, telling him that they're going to utilize Christopher in this instance. He tells Damon to watch Ryan in class. Theo tells Damon to watch Ryan in class, and then they pretend to go on as normal. And then we have a Theo flashback, which is 2 years ago. It's a flashback to Theo and his sister before she died. She's crying and pretending that watching a movie took her there. The movie was The Notebook. Theo knows that it's one of her men. He plans to confront them while their parents are away on their biannual vacation next week. I don't know if there's any point in these flashbacks because we already know what happened between Gray and his dad and Theo and his sister's boyfriends. So I don't know why we're having these flashbacks. Just to be so honest. It's pointless. In the corporate building where Avery is with Alexander, she's presented with her own final will and testament and documents signing over majority stakeholdership to Alexander.
What does she own again?
Remember, she owns stakes in Lilydale.
Oh, okay.
Her and Damon pushed...
for them to get married.
Yeah, that's why they're married, so that it pushed Alexander into the minority, and now they're majority stakeholders.
Got it. Okay.
So she's signing her will, which will grant him majority stakeholdership in the event of her death.
Smart.
And divorce paperwork. No, it's not divorce paperwork. There's no divorce paperwork. It's just a will. Both of which she signs because she knows the guys will be able to take care of each other, even though she likely has just signed her own death sentence. She's returned to Lilydale, still in her business attire, where she enters her class, and Gray's like, what the fuck happened?
And why are you dressed like that?
When she tells him Alexander happened, he stands up, pulls her from the classroom. Their teacher does not even try to stop them, and they go to find Damon.
She's like, there they go.
They find Damon in his room, Theo in tow, and explain everything that happened. Gray and Theo want to act now, and Damon finds he's in agreement, but still has to maintain a level head. Going in, guns ablaze, is what Alexander wants, and Damon knows that this will result in more damage to their group. They can't afford to lose anybody else. Avery settles herself across his lap, and they have a convo with their eyes. He slides her shirt up, and then he notices the tattoo for the first time. She tells him the significance of it, and he's like a little choked up with emotion. He tells Avery he needs to be inside her, and
Stat.
he needs to be inside her right now. Theo and Gray tease them about being excluded from this. They're just watching. Just kidding. Theo's kissing her, and then he is fucking her mouth. And Damon hits it from behind whilst Gray watches. And it's clearly everything to Damon, because as he's going to town on her, he's like, my heart will belong to you even when it stops.
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
He loves her.
He loves her.
His wife.
His wife that he hated. Until last book. Until last book. Avery's social worker is in Lilydale. Christopher managed to sneak forms for Arthur to sign off on her coming in and stealthily get her in because Arthur's out for the morning. The three of them come up with a plan to expose Lilydale and shut it down before Connor comes to collect Avery. They end up meeting with the rest of the society in the library with a plan to get the patients out of the dungeons tonight. That's basically the entirety of the chapter, with plenty of sexual tension between Avery and her men along the way. This time, Avery is able to aid in the rescue mission with a stipulation that she stays near one of her guys at all times. She's not allowed to wander off on her own.
No independence.
They make their way down to the dungeons, and somehow Avery is able to convince Gray, who's in charge of her, to let her be alone with one of the patients. It's one of the girls from the first book, Siobhan. She's like very on edge. She will not calm down with Gray in there. They're wearing masks, so like she's freaking out, and she's schizophrenic, so it's not a good situation for her. So Avery takes her mask off. She calms Siobhan down. Once they're all out, Avery sees Damon toss a doctor headfirst into a wall, and then Theo comes out of a room dragging the only remaining doctor down here with him, and it's the same one who helped torture Avery, the lady doctor, Melanie Cromwell, who begs Avery for sympathy, and Avery demands to know why she should give her any. Theo's pissed when he realizes that this is one of the doctors who caused harm to his woman during the 17 hours that she was down there. And then we're cutting over to his POV. Finally, Theo chapter 4. Melanie, as expected, begs Avery for mercy. Damon tells Avery she and Theo have 5 minutes to sort it out, and then they need to leave. He leaves then to take the other patients upstairs. Avery tells Theo that they're going to let the doctor go, believing that she has changed her tune. They decide together to burn down the lab, though. This is when Ryan enters the scene. He's a plant from Alexander and tries his best to kill Theo and Avery. Theo is Theo, and he overpowers him, and then Avery stabs him and douses him with the same chemicals that they used to set the lab on fire. When they make it out, Avery explains to an irate Damon that his father is what happened. He's pissed. He's like, what the fuck happened? Well, your dad. Daddy dearest.
Your dad.
Avery and Gray are alone together while Theo and Damon search for information. They talk a little bit before Gray demands for Avery to ride him, and she happily obliges. When they're finished, he tells her to stay like this, i.e. with him inside of her, for just a little longer, and she's very happy and content for the first time in a long while, and she's like, and that's how I know that shit's about to hit the fan, and everything's about to come crashing down around us.
Because he's going limp inside of her?
Because he's... Going
That's
soft. No, because she feels content and happy.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so once everyone not because his...
Like, the lie.
Oh, the lie. So everyone reconvenes. They come to an agreement to tell the other patients exactly what's going on and decide to warn Dr. Smith in case this tips everybody over the edge because they are kind of insane. Everyone breaks off to fill in patients on their own. Avery and Theo are together because Theo terrifies literally everyone. Gray is working out a new Avery sleep schedule watch bill because obviously it's a watch bill. They all reconvene once again. Avery figures out, with Damon's help, that Ryan was the son of one of the board members who actually signed off as a witness on the will that she signed with Alexander.
Oh, wow.
She and Gray together go pay Christopher a visit where she has him draft a second secret will that will supersede the one Alexander made her sign.
It's a secret.
It's a secret. She's like, hey, Christopher, you love doing things in secret. Like, remember when you secretly married me to Damon?
Sure thing.
She tells him he has to figure out a way to incorporate Gray and Theo in the will, too. They're her life, and she wants them to be hers in death or whatever. We flash back to Avery a year ago at her father's house where he's beating the hell out of her. I think the point is to show how much she's grown since then, because she talks about how no one could love her, not even multiple people, before you flash over to her present day where she has 2 boyfriends and a husband. It's a shit show after they tell the patients. People are losing it left and right to the point where free time is canceled and everybody's sent to their rooms alone, and Gray's like, what the fuck?
Everybody is punished.
They manage to get Avery out of her room somehow so that they're all together. She heads off to her session with Christopher. The guys meet with Dr. Markle just to kind of like investigate that old ass man a little bit more. During her session, she and Christopher discuss how the boys have helped her heal, and she them. Avery once again teases him about having a crush on her social worker because he like called her Meg and blushed, and she's like, oh my god, do you have a crush on her? And then they play chess again, with her finally asking him outright if he taught her how to play chess in hopes that she would protect Damon. This is when he tells her that the whole time that she was in the institute, like from checking in through this, he has suspected that she would be somebody who would be good for Damon and like help him turn over a new leaf. Okay. Avery's session ends and she's escorted by Arthur back to her room. It's really, really eerily quiet and she doesn't see her guys anywhere. So she's trying to call them on the cell phone unsuccessfully over and over and over again. Finally, she reaches out to Jillian, and they come to the conclusion that something is wrong because Jillian's camera feed timestamps are off.
Oh.
Avery's door creaks open. Alexander's like, come with me. He's pointing a gun at her. She obviously obliges. They go to Arthur's office, where we learn that Ryan was Dr. Elsher's nephew, and they know that she and Theo killed him because there were cameras down there.
Oh, no.
The guys are all down in the morgue looking for Avery at this point. They were misled through old footage, camera footage, and point out that Avery is Damon's weakness. She thinks that she's his strength, and she tells them as such. They ask her if she has any last words, and she tells them to go to fucking hell before a gun fires.
Oh, no.
All right. 5 years ago, in Damon's point of view, we're at Damon's mom's funeral, where Damon and Arthur's wife are having a chat about how he's very similar to his mother, and then we're jumping into present day. You see, the boys figured out very quickly that Avery being in the morgue was merely a ruse. Damon breaks away, steals Connor's gun, and finds his wife in a standoff with his father. Alexander's ready to pull the trigger, but Avery's poker face isn't perfected, so he catches Damon seeing Avery slip, and that's when she informs him that she simply signed another will that nullifies the first one that would give him all the power. At that point, Damon fires his gun, shoots his dad in the arm, and then he shoots Elsher, hits him in the forehead, before he steps up to his father and shoots the gun 2 more times. Arthur has run away at this point. Avery hugs Damon from behind. He turns around to kiss her before Gray bursts on the scene. He bursts on the scene and he goes, ding dong, the bitch is dead. Motherfucker. We learn that they're moving all of the patients from Lilydale into other facilities. There's an investigation into Lilydale, and it's going as expected. Authorities are arriving shortly after the murders and blah, blah, blah. Avery's likely facing charges because she was involved in Ryan's death. We're going to get to that. The polygot is down in the morgue, and we bear witness to the guys railing her one right after the other, with Damon finishing what he started in that casket all those books ago. So yes, he finally fucks her in the casket. The order specifically is Theo, Gray, Damon. And this is the thing that I literally could not stop thinking about, because I was like, what? Damon, so as she's with Theo, Damon's like, touch yourself. And she's like, okay, cool. He's like, write our names on your clit. And she does. And I was like, is that hot? That might be hot.
She loved it.
Speaking of Damon.
Speaking of hot.
He's like, write our names on your clit. And you can't come until you do all three.
But it's like...
And I'm like, fanning my armpits. It's stressing me out. Anyway, speaking of Damon, he's the only one who finishes inside her because Gray and Theo get the mouth.
And he's married to her.
And that's why he's allowed to finish inside her.
They're betrothed.
They're betrothed. Anyway, she is distraught that this is probably the last time that they will ever hook up. And she's like telling them that she loves them all so much. Her guys tell her to tell them again when they see each other soon. Avery is transported to a new facility. It's called like Riverview or something. It's the polar opposite of Lilydale. The patients from Lilydale who were transferred here are all women, and they're told that they're going to be assigned two to a room, and they're given the chance to pair up. So Avery's like, Jillian, you and me. And Jillian's like, of course. It is a co-ed facility, so I was like, oh my God, are her boys here?
But no.
Damn. They are assigned an extremely bubbly counselor who gives them a grand tour and shows them to their room. They don't need a key card to get into their room. They can come and go as they please. There's shower hours. So it's like between 6:30 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. you can shower. Meal times or whenever you like.
So a little less micromanaged.
A little less prison, a little more rehabilitation. So Avery ends up chatting with some of the other girls from Lilydale about what will happen to them now that they're in a significantly better facility. All of them are in agreement that they want to get better. One of the girls is like, so you have 3 boyfriends? And Avery's like, yeah. And she's like, have you ever done them both, like any of them at the same time? And Avery's like, oh my God, stop talking about my sex life. And they're like, she has.
But she has.
And then we are flashing forward 6 weeks. Sorry. 6 weeks later, Avery's at trial again. What is happening is that every patient who was at Lilydale is being retrialed for their old crimes and any new crimes that they may have committed while they were in Lilydale.
Within the last couple months.
6 weeks. Avery recounts her whole story from start to finish. She's shocked that people actually seem to want to listen to what she says. The jury goes and deliberates. They deem her guilty for her original sentence of involuntary manslaughter for burning her dad's house down and killing him, but not guilty for what happened at Lilydale. Oh. So her and Theo's murder of Ryan, self-defense. The judge tells her that she views Avery's time served at Lilydale as enough and that she's free to go. There's obviously like more to this.
I'm on probation or something.
I'm just trying to narrow down like a 300-page book into like an hour.
We appreciate.
Avery doesn't know what to do next. And that's when Christopher tells her that there are 3 people who probably do know what to do next. Uh-oh. She turns around. Oh, Christopher testified for her. And he has testified on behalf of all of his patients. And I was like, oh, Chris,
you sweetie.
You good guy. So she turns around and she sees her boys. Damon trialed first. It was basically the rock in building out everyone else's cases. My darling Theo almost wasn't let out for his lack of remorse at killing people.
He's like, okay, and?
He was like, Gray was like, that's because you didn't tell them everything. He and Gray were let out the previous week. Damon tells them all that he has a house that they can live in because the trust was restored, as well as all of his mother's belongings. They'll just need to get like some work done on the house because it's been sitting empty for however long Damon's been in this facility. Mm-hmm. And everything will work out okay. The house is large enough for everyone to have their own room. Of course. Gray picked the paint color for Avery's room, which is a very pretty lavender color. She's advised by Damon to lock her door unless she wants to wake up in a Gray and Theo sandwich every morning. And she's like, well, I'm not opposed to that, but I'd also like you to be there. They inform her that Arthur was arrested for the murder of Teddy and all is right in the world. They collectively decide to turn Lilydale, which Damon now owns, into a treatment facility very similar to the one that Avery was transferred to. Everyone's like, that's a great idea. Damon's like, my mom would have loved you. And all I could think of was Ilya. She would have loved you like I love you. Like I love you. Stop it! By the way, did you see that Connor's Story was nominated for an Emmy?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
So exciting. There's an epilogue. The first epilogue is in Gray's point of view because even in an epilogue, we can't get Theo's perspective. In which Gray murders Avery's rapist.
Oh.
Theo helps him clean up the body. He pulls up and he's like, bro, you said that you wouldn't make a mess.
Oh my gosh.
Damon gives Gray a blender that Gray puts a pet fish in. And I was like,
and then more teeth.
But why? They blend up the fish and the teeth and make Avery drink it.
Yes, it's a milkshake.
And then in the epilogue number 2, it's now 6 months later. They visit the new Lily halfway home. I forget what it's called. It's like Lily something halfway, whatever. We find out that Christopher is preparing to propose to Avery's old social worker and that they're expecting a child.
Oh my gosh.
And it's really just a happily ever after for everyone.
And then I have epilogue 3. We cut to Avery and she is in a straitjacket in a padded room. This is all a fever dream.
It's all just a dream.
All Starbucks, fever dream.
All Starbucks, fever dream. The end. So this one was probably like my favorite just because it was like so out of control.
It was a lot. It was fun.
It was so fun. It was so out of control. And also because I listened along. I should have listened to you bitches earlier and started like...
The graphic audios are so much fun.
They're so much fun.
Except Crescent City, for me, no. I kind of force myself through those.
Force yourself through that. So that was that. It was so
Yay.
fun. And I give it, I think, 3.75 stars, maybe, on Fable.
Okay.
It was really fun. I recommend. So that's that.
Yay.
Stay tuned for a new episode. I have to pee again because I drank a liquid IV.
Oh.
In hopes that my headache would go away. Update, it did go away.
Oh, good.
Thanks, Phil, for the liquid IV at work.
Oh, I was like, who's Phil?
G.
G.
We'll see you. Yeah, anyway, that's it. I got pee.
That's all we got. We love you. Bye. Tune in for more in a few weeks. I don't know.
See you next week for a moderately good wienering.
See you next week.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.